Your thoughts on why you're looking to keep the mayor's job and what you're looking to do with your next term if you were elected?
Well, we actually, when we first ran 4 years ago, we didn't look at this position as a position based on time. We looked at it based on accomplishments. Obviously, we feel that we really have accomplished a great deal in 4 years, but we're not quite done yet. There's still some infrastructure work we want to get done. We still want to continue working with our great partners in Purdue University and the Research Park. We want to work with our school corporation, see what improvements we can do to assist them. We also want to make sure that we work collectively and closely with our neighborhoods. There's still some great work that we can do with our neighborhoods to sort of enhance their quality of life. Recently, or actually 3 years ago now, we started what's called a neighborhood resource team. And that team was directed specifically for quality of life issues. And they've handled thousands of calls over the past 3 years, and they've made a significant improvement on the quality of life in the near campus areas. We'd like to expand that and get further into our neighborhoods and see what great work we can do there as well. We're also interested in looking at trying to do some improvements in some of the services that we provide. Now again, West Lafayette, the employees here work very hard and they provide great city services. But we'd like to do some changes. We'd like to look at improving some things. We're quite pleased with the way that we've simplified and increased the volume of recycling that's actually happening in the city of West Lafayette. But we'd like to improve that as well. We'd like to make the opportunity for folks to have bigger toters, to make it more simplistic. We feel that the fact that we've made it commingled and every week has been a benefit. The citizens have been incredibly impressed with that, and we want to continue down that path. We want to continue to educate our citizenry on recycling and improve the process of recycling by adding the toter system and making the system even more efficient than it is today.
You talked about improvements. What have you done, specific things besides the neighborhood resource and recycling? What are specific things you've done in the last 4 years that may not have been done if you weren't in the office?
Well, I think early on, and some of the reasons that we ran 4 years ago, there was a lot of turmoil within the West Lafayette Police Department. We were able to come into office, make some changes, make some staffing changes, and correct that. There was a structural deficit of $700,000, which means before you even start, you're already almost $1 million in the hole. Through cost cuts, through cost recovery, through reduction of staff, and through changes in operational assignments, we were able to reduce that and actually get rid of that within 1.5 years. We had a road that was in dire need of repair. And as was witnessed yesterday, we were able to build a bridge in the cooperation with the county government and the city of West Lafayette. And in talking about partnerships, we were able to develop amazing partnerships with Purdue University, with the Purdue Research Park, with the city of Lafayette, and with Tippecanoe County and our school corporation. Able to do infrastructure projects, Cumberland Avenue. We're getting ready to finish up on North River Road. We're able to improve our trail system and enhance our trail system and actually increase the number of mileage within our trail system. We're able to improve our recycling program. Instead of going separated every other week, we went to commingled every week. So just generally operationally, we've done a lot of things that are great. Fiscally, every budget that we filed has been less than the year before. We were able to go ahead, excuse me, we were able to go ahead and through what we call cost recovery, able to bring in more money, more revenue into our general fund by looking at our bonds and looking at refinancing our bonds and saving money on the interest rate there into the tone of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we were also able in the past 4 years to improve our bond rating. Even in these difficult economic times when it seems that everything else is going south, we improved our bond rating, which again in these times is fairly phenomenal. Our firefighters, they were in a temporary fire station going on their 4th year. And we were able to go ahead and through a process of getting, again, working with our partners at the Research Park, getting land that was donated, we're able now to look forward to the construction of a new fire station on the north end of town. So there's been a ton of stuff that we've been able to do. And again, I would be a little egocentric if I said it was all because of me. We've got a great team in place. You know, the department heads are phenomenal. They're very motivated and they work very hard. It took a little bit of leadership and providing a little bit of direction and guidance, and we've been able to accomplish these things in just 4 short years.
You talked specifically infrastructure you want to see improved in the next 4 years. Specifically, what do you want to see done?
Well, we need to finish with Cumberland Avenue. We finished Cumberland Avenue Phase 1 in this term. Cumberland Avenue Phase 2 is going to start construction next season. That's a pretty significant stretch of Cumberland Avenue. Again, when I talk to folks about what they think the worst road is in the city of West Lafayette, used to be Lindbergh, now they're focusing on Cumberland, so we're going to Cumberland Avenue Phase 2. We're also doing Happy Hollow. That hill in Happy Hollow has always been an area where it's difficult to balance pedestrian and vehicular traffic. We're going to take that on within the next year or two. We're looking at doing that in 2012 or 2013. South River Road is another area that needs to be improved. We're going to go ahead and look at trying to get the chicane, kind of soften those corners, widen and put sidewalks and curbs there as well. That's down the road. Salisbury, in between Navajo here, and then actually the entrance and exit of Payless. We're looking at improving that also. But that's not it. Obviously, we're looking at development as well. With our partnership with Purdue Research Park, we've been able to add over 48 new businesses in the past 4 years and almost 260 jobs. We're going to continue moving down that path. We're very fortunate to have an economic stabilizer like Purdue University within our hometown. And because of that stabilization, we're actually able to bring development into our community. And it takes a great deal of cooperation on the part of the city and Purdue University to get those businesses to come. Our Department of Development has been working very hard to continue that positive relationship and then to also incentivize businesses to come within our community. But we haven't just stopped there. We're also looking at the retail side of the house. We're trying to be creative and trying to attract new retail businesses to the city of West Lafayette as well. Some of the success stories that we've had so far is the recent development of the Wabash Shores area, the old Kmart spot. We're having a medical facility that's going to be growing up there in the next year. We've had Mike's Car Wash. There's going to be a bank moving in there and a dentist office. So that whole area is going to have a brand new, fresh look with new investments in this community.
With the Purdue Research Park, is there room for a lot more, or is it reaching close to its potential? Oh, no,
there's plenty of room. The Purdue Research Park area actually has hundreds of acres on the north of Calborough Road. Actually, where the area is where we're going to be building the new fire station, all the way on the north of Calborough Road out to Salisbury is fresh area, fresh land that's ready to be developed. We're in the process of looking at putting a new pumping station out there for our wastewater utility. And again, that would also be a way of incentivizing investment out in the research park to have it, as they say, plumbed for a development to go out that area. So there's plenty of space out there.
This may be a more difficult question, but in the last 4 years, is there anything you wish you would have done differently in this first term?
That's a good question. That's a thinker. Well, yeah, okay. But yes, actually there is. Like anything, when you're new to a job, you come in with a lot of expectations, a lot of assumptions, and in all honesty, a great deal of inexperience. One of the things that I was very unaware of and very naive about was the legislative process and the political process in order to get things done. I think I was fairly naive in thinking that as the leader of an organization, basically I could direct things and have things happen my way. But quite clearly it doesn't always work that way. As the mayor, obviously I have a great deal of authority, but I also am dependent upon having a cooperative relationship with my council, having a cooperative relationship with my Department of Development and Redevelopment, and having a cooperation with all my other commissions and boards. And there were certain aspects of our first few weeks in office, first few months in office, where that wasn't very clear. And again, we had a fairly new council as well. The city of West Lafayette, for the most part, changed hands 4 years ago. And so I think the learning process could have been a little more smooth, I guess. The great thing was that everybody that was elected 4 years ago, their number one focus was representing their district and helping improve the quality of life in the city of West Lafayette. And that's the exact same reason that I was elected as well. That was exactly my intent. And I think because we were able to work collectively and collaboratively together, we ended up having some of the successes that we did have. But I think I was a little naive when I first got into office because I'd never been involved in politics before. I had no political pedigree, and the only reason why I ran was because I wanted to make my hometown the best Big Ten city it could be in the country.
And with all the projects you mentioned, is there any worries as far as budget-wise that you'd be stretching those things? I mean, with all these road projects and those kind of things, they obviously cost a lot of money.
Sure. Not really, no, because the way that we do business here in the city of West Lafayette is we have what's called a capital plan. And that capital plan is based upon a project. It's based upon a revenue stream that's going to fund that project, and then it's based upon a logical and practical timeline. That way we know per year how much money we're going to be spending in a project. Quite clearly, some of the projects are fairly ambitious, and they're going to take more than just one calendar year to get done and more than one fiscal budget cycle. So we actually budget the funding necessary for the project based upon that calendar year. So each project that we have dedicated for completion, we've got a start date and then a finish date, and then we've got a revenue stream that's going to go ahead and fund it. So we're confident that we're going to be able to have all the projects that we've listed. We're going to be able to get them done. You know, we're going to get them done as close as on time as we can, but the revenue streams are already dedicated.
Next to last question, what's the biggest challenge for you in the next 4 years if you are elected?
Probably the biggest challenge, it's not just exclusively with me, it's fairly applicable to all folks that are involved in working in local government. It's revenue. With property tax caps and circuit breakers, our revenue streams have been decreased over the past 4 years. So our challenges are going to be to look at ways to provide high quality services, look at ways to incentivize growth within our community, and look at ways to cut costs and recover costs however we can.
Final question, what makes you the better candidate as opposed to your opponent?
Oh, well, I guess, okay, cut out that I guess part. Probably experience, you know, but not just an experience in being the mayor of West Lafayette for 4 years, experience in working with members of the county government, experience in working with representatives from the city of Lafayette, experience in working with our friends with our school corporation, experience in working with the administration of Purdue and the Purdue Research Park. You know, we don't solve a lot of these major problems individually. We solve them collectively. And also just knowing the personality of West Lafayette. I've lived here almost all my life. I grew up here, I went to school here, I'm very familiar with West Lafayette. I know how it works and I know how it runs. And also knowing the people, knowing the neighborhoods, knowing how knowing the quality of life that we have here, and being very determined in maintaining that high quality of life. I think passion goes a long way. I think experience goes a long way.